everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be checking out the Transformers Kingdom Generation Selects Transmutate. Easily one of the most unusual characters to ever come out of Beast Wars, and here we have her in her Paleotrex repaint with a brand new head sculpt. Now you may be able to tell that I have actually got her in this almost fan mode, as the actual way Hasbro do suggest you display her is simply just in the form of Paleotrex with the arms and the legs exactly like this, but that's definitely not accurate to how we saw her in the show, and considering these fossilizers can break up into multiple pieces, I thought that I would do the character some justice and try my best to recreate her look from the show, and I think I've come pretty close. This is as close as I could personally get it, and I would love to know what you guys can also come up with. Now for those who may be perhaps unfamiliar with the character of Transmutate, I believe that she only appeared in one episode of Beast Wars, that being titled Transmutate, and she was very quickly killed off, but she was essentially an almost alien that had crash landed in an incredibly battle damaged space pod. She didn't actually transform, and I don't believe she was a Predacon nor Maximal, but in the end she ends up taking the side of the Maximals, and she's actually rather misunderstood as well. I believe the character is incredibly intelligent, although is very easily led and is rather gullible, which is unfortunately why some of the Predacons do try to take advantage of her. But nevertheless, taking a closer look here at her in her robot mode, of course the only brand new retooled element that we have is this head sculpt, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Despite Transmutate being rather good natured, I have got to be honest and say that her face sculpt is darn freaky. She looks probably the most fearsome Beast Wars character that we have ever gotten. She looks so creepy. It's almost a mix of a ghost and a skeleton and some sort of alien. It's really unusual, but I love the sculpt work as well as the paint that we get here for her eyes. Unfortunately, the pin that actually holds the mouth together, at least here on my copy, is very loose, meaning that it constantly wants to spring open, but you can see that we do get some nice details there, such as these almost fangs on either side, and we of course have a really nice glossy black detailing, obviously so that she can emit her sonic screams. Really cool looking head sculpt there, and you can see how we've got a metallic gold applied here at the top. But the rest of the figure is simply just a recast of Paleotrex. She has no retooled pieces, which is rather unfortunate. It would have been nice if they could have actually given her a proper arm, as of course this is not the arm that she has in the show. She does have this almost blaster which kind of resembles this, but then she does have an almost very humanoid looking arm, and of course she also has some wires that come from the back and attach onto her head, but this figure doesn't come with any of that. But the colour scheme I think is pretty spot on to how she appeared in Beast Wars, so they've done quite a good job. You can see all of these really nice aquamarine bursts scattered all the way throughout the figure, even with some nice fading here at the paint apps. You can see all of the plastic has been cast so nicely. It's a really cool looking figure. I cannot fault it at all as far as presentation is concerned. It's turned out awesome. Now of course you can break her into different components, and I will show you how she is supposed to officially look. And there you have Transmutate fully transformed up into her official robot mode configuration. Now it doesn't look terrible, but it definitely doesn't resemble what we saw on screen, and personally the fan mode that I had her in at the beginning of this review I think looks so much better. I do like how they have completely cast the neck joint out of this aquamarine colour. I think it looks awesome. Of course you can compress this, but then she looks way too humanoid for my liking. And as we just take a look here at that head sculpt again, you can see really nice looking head design. Beast mode, Transmutate. She's so creepy. And then of course, as far as her articulation is concerned, it is identical to Paleotrex. And for a comparison, here we have Paleotrex in robot mode. You can see that it is merely just a head sculpt which differs, but you can completely break her up into individual components and create pretty much all of the same fossilizer armor that you could create here with Paleotrex, but I personally shall be keeping her primarily in that fan mode. Now of course, as Transmutate didn't actually have the capability of converting in the show, it didn't really give Hasbro and Takara Tomy a basis of what to give this character as an alternate mode, so they have merely just stuck with giving her a T-Rex, and I actually think it's turned out rather well. And there you have a Transmutate fully transformed up into her T-Rex alt mode. Now, despite this not being accurate to the character at all, considering they used Paleotrex as a basis, I actually don't think this has turned out too bad at all, especially in this brand new colorization. I am in love with the color of aquamarine that they have used here, or I guess you could call it a very light shade of blue. It looks fantastic, and the paintwork too really does match the cast plastic, and you can also see that present here for this region. They've done such an excellent job. I just wish that maybe they could have given her some new retooled elements, maybe a brand new head sculpt so that she wasn't a T-Rex, just something to differentiate her more from Paleotrex. But nevertheless, you can see we've got some nice teeth detailing with some really nice sculpt work. Considering that we now have the Transmutate head sculpt and not the Paleotrex head sculpt, the design here is a lot more smoother and we no longer have all of those jagged spikes. You can see the paintwork here for the ribcage too has turned out really well. All of this is in fact paint, and of course we've got the legs there as well as the tail too, which looks really awesome. So moving swiftly on here to a size comparison, here we have Transmutate in her fan mode configuration compared next to Voyager Optimus Primal and of course Leader T-Rex Beast Wars Megatron, and I actually do find the scale here to be pretty spot on to what we saw in the show. She did appear to be quite a large character, so I do think the scale here works quite well, although for those of you who perhaps have never picked up the Paleotrex mold, I would of course very quickly showcase how she is supposed to look fresh out of the packaging. And in her proper configuration, she certainly is more along the lines of a deluxe class. She is smaller than Voyager Primal and of course T-Rex Megatron, and I just do not think this works at all. The character was supposed to look rather alien in the show, and this here just looks way too humanoid for my liking, and I definitely think that maybe Hasbro and Takara Tomy should have packed in some alternate components in order to really recreate her look, as although you can get her in a close approximation, it certainly is by no stretch of the imagination spot on to what we saw in the show. But this particular configuration isn't bad by any means, it's just not my preferred out of the two. So overall it is a pretty decent repaint, and for those of you who are a fan of Beast Wars, you have to add Transmutate to your collection. As mentioned, she is one of the strangest Beast Wars character designs that we have ever gotten. Do I wish that maybe she could have gotten an original sculpt? Absolutely. I even said in my Netflix reviews of some of those deluxe figures that it would have been a great homage to the character if they could have made that third wave of deluxe Netflix figures actually have a Build-A-Figure component, considering they didn't pack in any type of Build-A-Backdrop such as Teletran 1 from Wave 1 and 2. So I would have liked to have seen her get her own original mold, but as this Gen Select figure stands, it is definitely one of the better releases, and I'm really satisfied that I actually have her in the collection. The head sculpt looks awesome, and if you do decide to mod her into an almost fan configuration, she definitely will look awesome upon the shelf, especially alongside some of the other Maximals and of course Predacons. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, shall you be adding Transmutate to your collection, or is she an easy pass? And do you find her to be as creepy as I do? Her head sculpt definitely has something slightly unearthly about it, and I'm really hoping that we actually do see the character introduced into Transformers Kingdom, the upcoming Netflix series, as it would be really awesome to see this character explored now with modern storytelling and of course modern animation. I thank you all for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
This thing is useless. It cannot even transform. Get rid of it.
Beast Mode. Beast Mode.